Alrighty. Hello, everyone. Hello, everyone. My name is Adriana Hamilton. I would like to thank you guys for coming and watching my video on food safety. Today, we will discuss ways to prevent foodborne illnesses and ways to properly store your food to reduce those risk of foodborne illnesses. You want to make sure that you're handling your food with safety. By the end of this presentation, you should be able to identify some key food safety practices as well as demonstrate proper hand washing and learn how to reduce cross-contamination. So, on to the next slide here, if it will go. Alrighty, what is food safety? Why is it important? The first thing about food safety, it refers to proper handling of your food. You want to make sure that the storage of your food is at a proper temperature. You want to make sure that you understand that foodborne illnesses are caused by bacteria in food. And sometimes the symptoms can be nausea, vomiting, diarrhea, stomach pain, and fever. Certain populations, such as children and older adults, they have weakened immune systems and they're more prone and at greater risk to complications when it comes to food safety. Um, some of the key for food safety things that you want to remember is going to be these food safety tips here. It's clean, separate, cook, and chill. Those are going to be your four steps of the food safety. Clean refers to just the importance of cleaning the area in which you're going to prepare your foods, clean as in washing your hands, and just cleaning your vegetables or fruit, whatever you have that you're preparing. When it comes to separating, you want to separate to reduce the risk of cross-contamination. Whenever you do so, you want to separate fruits from vegetables or fruits and vegetables from your raw meats. You want to make sure that you're doing that in the grocery cart, you're doing that when you're storing them at home, and you're doing that in the preparation process. The next two steps to food safety, like I said, is the last two, we go back. The last two is clean and separate. The next two is cook and chill. Cooking temperatures is very important when it comes to food. I know there's some different scenarios out there about, medium rare, rare steaks, and like internal temperatures of things like that. So you want to make sure that if you are cooking, you're cooking, and your foods are cooked to their internal temperature, which is to kill the bacteria. You want to make sure you use a food thermometer. That's the safest way to check the temperatures to make sure that it's cooked all the way through. Sometimes, you can look at a meat or look at something and say, "Oh, it's done," but sometimes the inside is not done, and that can cause bacteria to form and cause you to have a foodborne illness. Also, the safest way, like I said, is to check is through using a food thermometer. Okay, chill, refrigeration. So when it comes to food safety, you want to make sure that you're storing your food at the right temperature, which is 40 degrees and below in the fridge. Um, those are the temperature ranges that we're looking for when we are storing our food. And also, you want to use the 2-hour rule that whenever you have leftovers, you store them within 2 hours. Because that weird in between time, the 2 hours or a little bit after, can cause bacteria to form in the food. So you want to make sure that we're storing at the proper temperatures. So going back, we want to say we want to clean, wash our hands, clean the surfaces, clean the food, vegetables or fruit. You want to separate to reduce cross-contamination. You want to separate your raw veggies and fruit from your raw meats. And then cook, you want to make sure you're cooking to the correct internal temperatures. And then chill. We're chilling with in the fridge under 40 degrees and below and within the 2-hour range. All right, next is hand hygiene for food safety practices. As nurses, we know all about hand hygiene. It's one of the first things that they teach us in nursing school to ensure that we are not passing bacteria from one patient to the next. So hand hygiene, it follows the same in food safety. You want to make sure that we're following the step-by-step hand washing techniques. You want to wash your hands under running warm water. You want to apply soap and lather. You want to get the backs of your hands between your fingers and underneath your fingernails. And you're going to scrub vigorously for about 20 seconds at the minimum. You want to scrub for 20 seconds. You can sing happy birthday. You can count to 20. You can do whatever you need to do to make sure that you're properly washing your hands. And you want to rinse thoroughly with warm water, clean with a dry towel. You definitely don't want to use any shortcuts when it comes to hand washing as far as Germex and things like that goes or quick rinses because you can still carry bacteria on your hands and transfer it to somewhere else. So you definitely want to make sure we're cleaning our hands thoroughly, especially when we're going from veggies to meat and meat to veggies. So we would, if you guys would like to, we can get up and practice. Everybody have a chance at washing their hands properly and making sure that we got that skill and not forgetting how important it is to wash our hands properly. All right. The next part of our slide is going to be how to avoid cross-contamination. In order to avoid cross-contamination, you would like to use separate things. You want to separate, like we said already, you want to separate your raw veggies from your raw meats. And you want to also keep your raw meat sealed and stored in low temperatures. Sometimes I know like when we're cooking, we can set the meat out on the counter and let it defrost, and then all of that meat juice is just kind of hanging out on the countertop. So you want to make sure that we're cleaning that area. We're keeping our vegetables separate from that area, and we're not just letting it sit there and then putting other things in the area where the meat defrosted. So you want to keep your meat cool for one, and then also clean and keep everything separate. Also, try to avoid using any other bowls that you marinated your meat in. As far as like, putting your sauces and stuff like that, you don't want to use that same bowl to wash your fruit and vegetables after. Also, another way to prevent cross-contamination is just making sure we practice the food storage thing again. Store within the 2 hours. Make sure you store it in an airtight container if you do have some leftover meat or food that you want to put in the fridge. And then also, don't forget to label and date your leftovers. I know a lot of people meal prep, like myself. I'm a personal trainer and past like nutritionist. Always tell people about personal training. Just make sure, like, sorry, about meal prepping. Just make sure that you're storing your food at the right temperatures. And then the last but not least, just make sure you're using proper thawing methods as far as like let your meat defrost, like doing it in the cold water or, whatever the proper those proper channels for defrosting your meat, not just letting it sit on the counter for hours and then it's at below, way room temperature and you're trying to cook it, that can cause bacteria. So you want to make sure that your meats are staying fresh and cool. And whatever you do as far as your defrosting method, you keep it separate from your other things and you make sure to clean the counters when you're done. These are my references here. Like I said, just a synopsis going back over everything. The 4 steps is to you want to separate. You want to clean, separate, cook, and chill. Those are going to be your 4 things. Whenever you're cleaning, you want to make sure you're cleaning the surfaces, cleaning your hands for 20 seconds or more. And then you want to also make sure that when you are separating, you're separating your fruits and your veggies, and you're using different cutting boards to do so, and different utensils and different bowls and things. And then when you cook, you make sure you cook into the right temperature. And then outside of that, whenever you get ready to chill your food, you want to make sure that your chill temperature is 40 degrees and below, and you're storing your food within the 2 hour range. Thank you for attending this quick information on food safety. I hope you guys learned something. Um, and I hope you understand that food safety is these 4 steps, and food safety and proper handling is going to help you reduce the risk of foodborne illnesses out there. So thanks for coming to my chat. Hope you guys learned something. And if you have any questions, feel free to reach out. Thank you. All right, let's see.